I don't know who you are, but if you came across this video, you might be having a huge spiritual awakening, just like I am. I feel like I am finally escaping the matrix. You probably feel that way too. In this episode, we're going to be talking about this spiritual awakening, how to really reclaim your power, and how to navigate going towards how you can level up in your life, not only in your mindset, but completely in your full reality. So here we go. Hi, and welcome back to the Ripple Effect of You podcast. I'm so excited to have you here for this episode. If you're interested in things related to spirituality, entrepreneurship, and leveling up, then I'm your girl. Every week I talk about these things, and I hope that you'll join me on this podcast by clicking that subscribe button. So thank you so much for tuning in. So today I want to talk to you about how I'm having a really big spiritual awakening right now. Very interesting to me. It all started over the break. I was talking to one of my contacts just about mindset and shifting my mindset and just, staying positive. I had the synchronicity because I believe that in one of her, and she also is a podcaster, so kudos to her and shout out to her. I was watching one of her episodes and she mentioned this movie called Limitless. And while I was watching other videos, somehow or another, this movie came up in my feed. And I was like, what is this movie? Everybody keeps, because I heard it in another podcast. And I was like, why does everybody keep referencing this movie? I need to watch this movie because I felt like it was like being intuitively told to me to watch this movie. And sure enough, I really believe it was. I don't know if any of you have watched this movie, and I'm not going to give the full picture of it because I definitely would tell you to check it out. But it came out back in like 2011. Didn't know that it did. But anyways, it's an incredible movie. The main character, Bradley Cooper, is a writer who at the beginning is having a hard time, writer's block. He comes across this acquaintance that he knew from his previous marriage, his wife's brother-in-law. The brother-in-law is kind of like a consultant, if you will, dealer, whatever, of a drug that basically allows people to access the full capacity of their brain. And so the guy was kind of sketched out with the pill. He was like, I'm not taking drugs. I don't want to take any drugs. But then he was like, at a certain point when he was having a hard time, like, you know what the heck, I'll just take it. And so he took it, and then all of a sudden, like his entire perspective on his life and just things and how he was seeing things, like as he was talking to people, seeing people's books as in one of the scenes when he was first taking the pill and everything else. But his entire perspective, like he was able to just fully like step into his own as like the person that was having the hard time doing things just stepped out of the picture. And all of a sudden he was in his full capacity of being a human being, the full potential of the human being that he was. Okay. So it was just insane to me to see just how this unfolded. And all of a sudden, all the things that were hindering him, he finally was able to do. He got the book done really quickly. The editor was like, just wow, just impressed. He was able to speak different languages, all these things. So, anyways, watch the movie. But my point is that from this, I started thinking about why is it that we allow ourselves many times to have these blocks within us. And I mean, I know it can be a number of things. Let's just get started on things that we've encountered in our childhood, things that we've encountered in our jobs, things that we've encountered in relationships, things that we encounter with our friends. I mean, there's so many different things that can like cripple us if we allow it to, in terms of how we see ourselves, how we perceive the world, how we perceive our potential. You know what I'm saying? And so it made me start to really question, like, okay, well, what is this? Because I've been doing a lot of work on myself over the years. I love personal development. I love spirituality and just getting to know myself better because it's also helping me to really become the person that I aspire to be in this life. I'm kind of just going back and peeling out layers as to why sometimes do I see myself in certain ways? Why have I allowed myself to criticize myself or be judgmental of myself or whatever the case may be, or like limit my potential? And one of the things that I realized within this core sphere is that I am very empathic. Didn't realize how empathic I was as a soul on the soul level. I feel like because I'm so empathic, I'm able to be really perceptive to people's energy around me. That's why in one previous episode, I was telling you guys about clearing your energy because I constantly have to clear mine because I really connect deeply with people. I think it's part of one of my gifts is that I am very able to just connect with people deeply. And some of you might be able to. And then sometimes as you're talking to people, you may not even understand why when you leave from them, you feel a certain way, or you start to feel certain things about yourself that you don't know why you feel. And I realized that people often are projecting onto us many times and allowing us to take in their thoughts of us, take in what they see our potential is, take in just any type of negative things that we don't even know. And then also on the other side of this is we could allow ourselves to be around people who are also like siphoning our energy in different ways and not like necessarily doing this purposely, but just energetically. And so if these people are already negative and then we're trying to be positive around them, unapparent to us, they're actually taking our energy from us, which is then causing us not to have the energy to move forward in our full potential, and also causing us not to see ourselves in our full potential in the way that we truly need to see. So, this is like a lot. I don't know if anybody is experiencing this in the way that I am, but what I'm trying to say is that we need to reclaim our power into our full potential. And part of us doing that is understanding the limitlessness that we have within our mindset. The other thing that I've been doing is I've been reading this book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And this book has completely just changed my entire aspect of seeing life, seeing myself, seeing just like how I operate in the world, and knowing that I can truly take hold of my potential. You can truly be the creator of your life. And it all starts with having that intentionality and actually taking action behind that. Because we can visualize, we can think, we can do all these things, but we actually need to take these steps towards that. So again, if you're saying that you're around someone who is limiting your potential, or like you feel a certain way around them, stop hanging around that person. If there's something that you really want to do that you haven't been doing, then start doing that little bit by bit, and you'll get better and better with it. This is how we graduate to the next level of our life. This is how we reclaim our power. This is how we move forward. And in the new year right now, because I know everybody's about goals and setting visions and getting towards that and like really taking hold of the power, this is a time right now for you to finally step into your full power by taking back all of it that you've been taking, that people have been taking from you. You now claim it back to yourself. So think about, where are you putting your energy these days? What are you listening to? What are you ingesting into your spirit? I don't care what anybody tells you. The things that you ingest in your spirit, the things that you take in daily, are encompassing who it is that you are. So now it's time to fully realize that if you want to change your life, if you want to become a different person, if you want to take back your power, it is about shifting everything around how you've seen yourself, how you've allowed people to see you, and why you do what you do. Because see, part of me, and at least if I'm going to go in this way of just getting a personal in the sense, I realized that I have allowed limiting perspectives around me many times. I didn't even know that I was allowing it to, because if people have seen themselves in a different way, I felt like, not maybe necessarily intentionally all the time, sometimes intentionally, they were just basically pushing that onto me. And because I'm so receptive, I'm so energetic in the sense of like, well, I tend to have a lot of energy, but also very empathic, I would just take it on, not knowing. I feel like I was just limiting myself in that way, not knowing why, or feeling like I wasn't capable in some areas, or like I couldn't do certain things, when the reality was it was other people who didn't think that about themselves. And so then, because they didn't think that about themselves, they thought when they were talking to me, well, who do I think I am? Who does she think she is because she thinks she can do that? Or da 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 da. All those other, you know, ideas and thoughts. So my point is that I want you to really just understand the power that you have over your life, over where you're going, and who it is that you want to be. See the limitlessness of you being the full being that you are. Because see, we are literally just souls in a human body. When we are in our soulfulness, we are moving in the spirit, there is nothing that we can't do. And we are literally in that all the time. And we would really take on that reality. We are not limited by the constructs of things. That's why they say the imagination is so important, because when you look at something in the imagination, it can become into reality. But the thing is, you have to change how you view that reality. You have to change how you view yourself. And as I'm talking to you, I'm preaching to myself at the same time. So now it becomes to this idea of, how are we going to move forward? So I challenge you, as I'm challenging myself, and I always say things about challenging, but it's because on this podcast, I really am about us fully living out the fullness of who we came here to be. Not a little bit, the fullness. And that means that in doing so, we have to recognize our blocks. We have to recognize things that we don't necessarily even know that we're recognizing, so we can master ourselves. And so when a person comes to you and they have some type of limiting thought, or like they're being kind of negative, you can understand that you cannot always associate with that person, or you cannot always allow yourself to be around that energy, because in some ways, even if you don't want to, you might energetically take it on. And I think that it's so important for us to just be much more tactful, much more serious, much more aware that if we are fully going to become the person we came here to be, and to create that ripple effect, which I love because we always talk about ripple effect on the show, that means we have to truly be strong in who we are, strong in our boldness, and strong in knowing that this is the trajectory of the path that I'm going on, and I'm going to move forward into it unapologetically, methodically, and on point. And that means you've got to be bold, you've got to be strong, and you just got to keep going in that. So again, if you came across this video, I want to actually congratulate you, because I'm going to congratulate myself too in some sense, because we're opening up. We're becoming more awake to who it is that we are, who we are becoming, and we're just becoming more thoughtful and tactical again as to how we're going to go about life and how we're going to go about showing up in this world. Because there's no excuse, really. I know we all have challenges. I know we all have challenges. I don't get me started on the challenges I've gone through and still just navigating all these other things. But my challenge to myself is, how can I still, even with what I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis or whatever else, how can I still keep showing up and doing something, doing things, especially to get me towards where I'm trying to go? And the key is just to keep showing up, to keep becoming more aware, to keep becoming more in tune to who you are and who it is that you aspire to be. And don't let anyone ever tell you that you cannot, because you know who you are. And as you carve out more of these understandings of it, as you read more, you journal more, you become more aware of your own thoughts, you will recognize what thoughts are yours, what thoughts are somebody else's, or what thoughts are of the enemy to get you steered off your path. But it all starts with us becoming more receptive, more aware, and more in tune. And having this idea that limitlessness in terms of our potential, in terms of everything that we came here to be, is truly possible, but it's up to us to decide that it is. And when we decided that it is, that's when we move forward in making that stuff a reality. So thank you so much for tuning in on this edition of the Ripple Effect of You podcast. I'm so excited for just sharing more of this information and things that I'm learning and uncovering, because I feel like once we really understand that we are the creator of our life, yes, we do have our ultimate creator, God, but we are in charge of how we move forward in our lives, and whatever is thrown our way, we can skillfully surpass. It gives us so much power. It gives us so much authority to move forward in that way, because we are the deciders of that. We just have to choose to believe it, choose to accept it, and choose to escape the matrix that is causing us to think that we cannot escape it. Because in reality, a lot of people want to, and sometimes don't even realize that they're in the matrix. Sometimes it seems to be easier to stay in the matrix, to not awaken to the full potential of who they are, to let excuses or things or even fear stop a person from escaping the matrix. But we did not come here to stay in the matrix. We came here to live out the fullness of who we came here to be. And I'm going to challenge you to do that. And I'm going to challenge you to move forward in that methodically and persistently. So thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next time, and take care.